Welcome back, and you're watching Market Fatafat on ET Now. This is a show where we get you all the stocks, why are they buzzing in trade and the reasons behind that. But on the technicals also, we are joined by now Osho Krishan this afternoon. Osho, a very good afternoon to you. And let's start with your first stock for today. That is JSW Steel. When you look at it in the last 1 month, it has started picking up that pace in terms of the move. Today, stock is trading at a 52-week high as well. In terms of overall, what are the charts now indicating for JSW Steel? How much more upside? At 797, would it still be a buy for you?
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, looking at the technical charts of JSW Steel, recently it has seen a breakout from the levels of 770 levels. So from here onwards, one can expect the rally to continue because it has been a very strong resistance zone, and post the recent breakout, we can expect the upside target of nearly 825 in a very short-term perspective. But if we will be looking on the broader time frame, so there has been approximately 150 points of breakout that can be seen in JSW Steel. So longer picture is very bullish for JSW, but for short-term traders, one should keep a target of 825, while on the downside, 770 is likely to cushion any kind of short-term blip after the recent rally from 740 odd levels. So one should definitely keep a strong radar on this counter, even for short-term and for long-term as well.
Okay, moving on and shifting focus to IOC now, because this particular counter is in focus, as IOC has hiked the commercial LPG prices, and commercial LPG prices have been hiked by 7 rupees per cylinder, and the prices in Delhi have been increased to 1780 rupees per cylinder from 1773 rupees per cylinder, and the new rates are effective from 4th of July itself, and that's the news flow coming in on IOC. Although the price hike is not that material, is not that significant, that's why you're seeing that stock is not much in momentum, but definitely a positive news.
Absolutely. Let's move on and talk about IOC then on the charts. And, Osho, when you're looking at it in terms of the up move, last 6 months, not bad in terms of the up move that we're seeing coming in there. Now, finally, what is IOC indicating on the chart? Should we expect a sharper run up today? Nothing exciting in terms of a stock move, but last 6 months, 20% uptick is something that is a good return.
As on today, the stock might not have performed well, but if you will be looking at the yesterday's data, then it has moved approximately 3.5% to 4%. So weekly it has gained nearly 3.5% on the higher range. So from here onwards, one can expect the 3-digit number in IOC in the very recent period. So 100 to 102 will be the first target that one can look for in IOC. While on the downside, the immediate support is placed around 92, while the sacrosanct or a very strong support is placed around the levels of 88 to 89. So even for short-term traders, one should try to accumulate this counter nearly at the levels of near to 92 zone for the higher targets of 102 from short-term perspective.
Let's move on and talk about Hindustan Zinc then at stock number 18. Lisa, why is Hindustan Zinc in focus today? What is the update that we're getting here?
Well, the reason is that they have posted their quarterly update and the company has reported its highest ever metal production in Q1, and this is because of their higher ore production, which was largely at Rampura, Agucha as well as Kayad mills. This was supported by improved metal grades as well as better mill recovery. Talking about their mined metal production on year-on-year basis, it was up around 2%, and it stood at around 257,257 kilotons, and on sequential basis, it was weak actually. It was down 15%, and this was on the back of mine preparation activities. Even their zinc production, it was up, it was flat at around 1% year-on-year basis, but it was down 3% on a sequential basis. So we can see Hindustan Zinc, it's neutral to this quarterly update.
Okay, moving on, and let's shift focus to L&T Finance now. That particular counter amongst the financial space is not having a good day. It's down about 2.5%. And Vamakshi, tell us why the stock is under pressure today.
Well, Srishti, when we look at the stock yesterday, it was a buzz on the back of that management change update that actually came in. Brokerages also looked quite positive, but today we have a note coming in from Kotak on the same, and they believe that there are no quick fixes. They believe that profitability cannot change overnight. They believe that the company's turnaround is a long process, and that is mainly on account of some structural constraints. The company's challenges of low near-term growth as well as subdued return on equity don't have instant fixes, unfortunately. And in fact, they believe that the company will need to run down its wholesale book and maintain momentum in retail loans. So on the back of all these factors, we have Kotak actually downgrading its rating on this counter to sell from reduce. They've also, however, increased their target price slightly from 90 per share to 95 per share. So largely, we have this brokerage note from that has actually come in from Kotak. The stock did see a good run up yesterday, but today the stock is definitely under pressure. As you can see, the stock is trading lower by almost 3%.
Okay. Let's move on and talk about Macrotech Developers at stock number 20. What we saw coming in here for load of Macrotech Developers, as we know it as, that in the morning there was a change of hands of around 1.5 million shares. And obviously, yes, we do not have the names of the buyers and the sellers. Saw a spike up coming in the stock, and then it's fallen off. Today it also managed to touch its 52-week high as well. So yes, we will surely keep an eye out on those names that will be coming in terms of who is the buyer as well as the seller of the shares. But today the stock is in focus because of this change of hands that we've seen of 1.5 million shares of equity.
Okay, moving on, let's shift focus to one such name we don't discuss much often, and that is Genus Power. And Lisa, why the stock is buzzing today? Because that stock is up around 9.5%. Tell us, what's the news flow?
Well, yes, the company is into smart meter manufacturing, and as we know that the bids are out for the smart meters, and Genus Power, they have surged around 15% in early morning trade, and that was on the back of a big order win. Not only that, they also hit a 52-week high. The company won an order of around 2,200 odd crore, and this is for the deployment of advanced metering infrastructure providing services, and they will be commissioning around 27 smart prepaid meters. Well, Genus Power, it's among the largest player in India's electricity metering solution, and they have a 27% market share. So as we can see, the stock is up around 9% as we speak on the back of this news flow.
Okay, let's move on and talk about Welspun India. And Vamakshi, why is Welspun India in focus today? What is the news flow that is keeping the stock abuzz today?
Well, yes, analysts at B&K Securities caught up with the management of Welspun India, and here are some important takeaways that have actually come in from that meeting. The management has highlighted that near-term demand for home textiles continues to improve gradually. Risk of recession in advanced economies are preventing retailers from building up inventory, but the management is quite confident of achieving almost 10 to 12% top-line growth with nearly 15% consolidated EBITDA margin as far as FY24 is concerned. The company also has highlighted that strong cost focus is where they are leaning towards, and the declining debt in turn could support valuations. They continue to work on licensing agreement with Disney, and in fact they have highlighted that the domestic demand is a tad slower in the last 2 months, but the volumes are expected to remain flat for the first quarter. There is, however, been no significant pressure as far as the average selling prices are concerned. In fact, in the fourth quarter, as far as exports are concerned, India has gained market share from Pakistan as well as Bangladesh. So that is the rough overview that Welspun India has shared with B&K Securities, and that is the reason why the stock is in focus today. The stock is up nearly 1% as we speak.
Okay, moving on, and Osho, once again coming to you from the middle pack. You have picked up SAIL. Tell us how the chart's looking like for this one.
SAIL recently has not done much, but looking at the past 2 weeks kind of a price movement we can expect, because it is on the verge of giving a breakout from the levels of 88.50. So 88.50 will be the first level to for in SAIL, and once it breaches those levels, then it has the potential to test the 92-94 levels in the short term period. And looking at the overall metal space has been gaining traction from past 2 to 3 days. So we are looking quite bullish. We are expecting a bullish movement in SAIL from here onwards, but it will be a buy above the levels of 88.50 for the initial target of 92 followed by 94.
Moving on to the next stock in focus, and that's big boy Reliance. Definitely a positive news, but definitely a sector which is quite competitive in nature, and that's why maybe you are seeing the stock a bit under pressure. But a good news for the consumers, as JioBharat phone has been launched by Reliance Industries, and at a very economical price, I would say. That's 999 rupees with recharge plans starting from 123 rupees per month, offering unlimited voice and 14 GB data per month, where the beta trial for this one is to be carried out starting 7th of July 2023 across 6,500 tehsils for the first 1 million devices, wherein Jio versus Airtel versus Vodafone Idea, if you will see, then Jio plans data is at 31% cheaper price being compared to the existing plans of the other companies, and Jio phone's plan, it has 35% more and offers 5x more data with respect to the competitors. So on the back of this news flow, this stock is in focus today.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on Reliance as well as all the other telecom names as well, because they have also been in focus.
Yeah.
But let's move on and talk about Bharat Forge on the charts, and that's stock number 25 for us, Osho. When you look at it in terms of 6 months, nothing exciting there, because we saw a sharp correction coming in. Now maybe in the last 1 month you can see that, you know, it's trying to pick up that pace on the charts. Is that an indication what we could understand from, or maybe a further more consolidation correction is expected in Bharat Forge?
In the recent period, Bharat Forge has seen a double bottom pattern breakout, specifically on the date of 7th June. So from there onwards, there has been the continuation in the rally towards 840, and again the stock corrected to retest the neckline of the breakout, which on technical basis is a very positive construction or development that can be seen in any of the counter. And from there onwards, we again have witnessed that the counter has again retested the levels of 840 on the higher end. So that confirms the uptrend has begun in this counter. So from here onwards, one can expect a series of targets on the higher end. The first one will be 860 to 865, followed by 880 odd zone. So overall, the trend has changed in Bharat Forge, and on a gradual basis, we can see a very decent up move towards the level of 880 to 885 from short to medium term perspective.
Out on those levels for Bharat Forge. Let's move on then and talk about NBCC. Now the company has inked a memorandum of understanding with the currency note press under the Security Printing and Minting Corporation of India Limited, and this is of Maharashtra, and this was actually on 23rd of June. They made the announcement this morning that they have signed this MOU. This is mainly for planning, designing, execution of upcoming works such as the state-of-art museum, infrastructure development works, like treatment plants, etc. as well. And this is at the currency note press in Nashik as well. So keeping an eye out on this one. Today the stock is buzzing in trade after this announcement of MOU came in. This morning, stock is trading with 2% uptick.
Okay, moving on, once again shifting to autos now, because this particular counter has also been in focus, as because tomorrow Bajaj Prime prices will be announced, and that will be keenly watched. But Osho, this stock has been buzzing on the 6-month chart, already up 28%, and with Eicher Motors falling now, Bajaj Auto and Hero MotoCorp are definitely winning the game today. So what are the next targets you're looking for Bajaj Auto?
Overall, as you have mentioned, that Bajaj Auto has been performing from past 6 months, and looking at the overall technical setup, it is being very robust from here onwards also, because one can expect a recent rally of which is approximately of 200 points from the breakout zone of 4700. So that means one can expect 4900 levels in Bajaj Auto from short-term perspective. But as of now, we have seen a consolidation breakout from the levels of 4520 odd levels. So there can be some kind of consolidation before the big run again. So one should definitely try to gauge any kind of fall in this counter towards the level of 4550, and on the higher end, any breakout above 4700 can again give this counter a boost of nearly 200 points. So 4900 will be the target for short-term period.
Okay, 4900 could be the target for the short-term period. That's the word on Bajaj Auto from Osho. But let's move on, and Lisa, Oil India, that's the stock that you're going to talk to us about today. It's seeing mild gains, given up those morning gains, but what is the news flow here? Are we seeing some positive news flow?
No, Vinay, actually it's a negative news flow. The stock is quite neutral to the news because they have revised their estimate for their project, and the revision is up around 10%. They have revised it from 6,555 crore to 7,231 crore, and this is for the implementation of their petrochemical project at Numaligarh Refinery Limited. Now, Oil India, they do have aggressive growth plans, and they are looking to increase their oil as well as gas volumes by around 30 and 60% respectively by FY25, and this will be with the commencement of the brownfield expansion projects in Assam. And they also have an upcoming project. This is for the expansion of their refinery capacity to 9 metric tons per annum by FY25. So common, it's just a 10% increase, and the stock is reacting. It's just flat to this news flow.
Okay, before we come talk about the next stock, that is AU Bank from Osho, let's have a look at what the markets are up to, because some profit booking is what we are witnessing on the benchmark indices, where Nifty Bank, which was down about more than 400 points at one point in time, is now seen to be drifting lower. 154 points of gain is what we are seeing for Nifty Bank, and as well for the Nifty 50 as well, we are seeing some bit of a profit booking over there, because now we are still trading above that 19,300 mark, but with almost 100 points of gain. It's 50 points of gain is what Nifty 50 is holding. So the next 1 hour could be very interesting to look out for.
Absolutely, and also let's not forget that Nifty mid cap that switched into the red as well. It was merely managing to actually stand on that green side, but now Nifty mid cap has gone and moved down further at the days almost near the day's lowest point, reaching near the day's lowest point. Again, it's down 0.2% in a trade. That's the Nifty mid cap. But let's move on and keep it going with all these other stocks that are buzzing in trade. And Osho, coming to you on the technicals. AU Small Finance Bank. What are the charts indicating for this one? Should we expect a run up anytime soon? 21% is already the return that the stock has given. So what should one be doing at 768? Is it still a buy?
AU Bank, as we can see from the technical levels, from the levels of 640, it has seen a stellar run towards the 800 mark, and from there onwards there has been some kind of cool off or profit booking in this counter. But on technical perspective, the counter is on the verge of giving a sloping channel breakout whose level will be approximately at 772 on the spot zone. So any breach above 772 and sustenance above 772 can again give a breakout in this counter, and this will retest the levels of 800 in a very short term period. That means in the positional maybe by this week. So overall the trend is very bullish, but one has to keep strong radar on the levels of 772, because that is where the stock will give a breakout. If it won't sustain, then we can see some kind of more correction towards the level of 740. And there one should try to accumulate this counter for the target of 770, and once it breaches 770, then from there onwards one can expect 800 on a very short term perspective.
Okay, let's shift focus to Avenue Supermarts now, because that's the stock number 30 that we're going to be flagging off for you. And Mamakshi, coming to you for this one, the company has come up with its Q1 updates. Tell us what kind of an updates we are getting from the company.
When we look at the Q1 update, let's first look at the revenues that the company has reported. Standalone revenues did see an uptick of almost 18% on a year-on-year basis, standing at 1,15,084 crore rupees. Now, when we look at, or rather 11,584 crore rupees. Now, when we look at the total number of stores, they stand at almost 327. We also have a few brokerage notes that have come in for Avenue Supermarts. Macquarie believes that the growth that the company exhibited in the first quarter was weaker than expected. In fact, 4-year standalone sales CAGR moderated marginally from the fourth quarter levels to around 19%. Despite that, they've maintained an outperform rating, target price of 4,450 per share. Apart from that, Morgan Stanley has also come out with a report, and they have highlighted that this is the third consecutive quarter in which growth has been weaker than expected. Estimated implied same-store sales growth of 7% is what the company has posted, and on the back of that, they've maintained an equal weight call with a target price of 3,786 per share. So largely, what we're gathering from the Q1 update is that the update was weaker than expected, and there was some slower sales growth as well. So Avenue Supermarts in focus on the back of that.
Okay, keeping an eye on Supermart, but let's move on and talk about IGL then, and Osho on the charts. What are you picking up for IGL? Last 1 month, almost 5% return. Last 6 months, also 13% return. What is the upside that we should expect? Or maybe a consolidation is what you're figuring out on the charts?
See, overall, IGL has seen a very decent run, and after that decent run, it has went to a consolidation zone, as you have mentioned. But again, from a very short-term perspective, what we can see that the stock is having a breakout of sloping trend line on the daily time frame. So that means from here onwards, one can expect a decent rally, not a very aggressive target in this counter, but one can definitely expect a decent rally towards 500 to 510 in short-term perspective. Whereas on the downside, the strong demand is placed around the levels of 465 to 470. So any dip towards 465.70 should be seen as a very positive development, and one should try to accumulate this counter for immediate target of 500 and 510.
500 and 510 is the targets that we could expect on in the near term. Let's move on to the next one then, and that is Avalon Tech. This one is in focus after we have a note that is coming from DAM Capital, where they said that overall the industry that Avalon Tech is in is witnessing a strong tailwind. They're growing in terms of electronics, Make in India is there, import substitution is there. All this will support the industry growth and obviously in turn support Avalon's growth as well. Now Avalon is likely to be a key beneficiary of these diverse product offerings and marquee customer base that they already have. To capitalize on this, Avalon is also focusing now and adding 2 new facilities as well of around 100 crore in terms of capex that they've planned over the next 2 years. And accordingly, what DAM Capital is doing, they're penciling in around a 32% revenue growth in terms of CAGR over the next 2 years, as well as 54% growth in terms of earnings over the next 2 years as well. CAGR earnings is what I'm talking about. Now, they believe that while the return ratios are dented of the near term on the IPO proceeds, but the return on capital employed is likely to be at 20% in FY25. Hence, they believe the valuations at 26 times FY25 earnings is quite attractive, and they've initiated coverage on Avalon Technologies with a buy rating.
Okay, surely in buzzing in trade today. We're moving on to Prism Johnson now. Osho, you have picked this particular counter. The stock is also in momentum in the recent past. Tell us what are the next stocks for this one.
The overall Prism Johnson cement is one of the cash counter, but it is forming a very strong pattern on the daily chart. If we will be talking about the specific patterns, then it is inverted head and shoulder, whose target should be approximately 30 points from current levels. So one should try to accumulate this counter at current levels because it is on the verge of giving a breakout for the upside target of 160. So that means overall from medium term perspective, because the overall construction for this pattern has been more than 5 months, so one should definitely try to keep this counter as an investment perspective, because we cannot witness a very strong rally in the recent period, but in next 2 to 3 months one can definitely expect a target of 160 in this counter. So as an investment perspective, one should definitely try to keep this in their own portfolio.
Okay, an investment bet coming in for you all, that is Prism Cement. Moving on, and let's shift focus from the pharma pack to Zydus Life Sciences. This counter is in focus on the back of a new drug approval the company has got from US FDA, and the drug name is oxcarbazepine tablets, where the company will be launching it in 3 particular strengths, that is 150, 300 as well as 600 milligram, where just to tell you that oxcarbazepine is used alone with the other medications to treat seizure disorders, that is epilepsy, and the product will be manufactured at the group's formulation manufacturing facility in Baddi, Himachal Pradesh, and this drug has an annual sales of $105 million in United States. So on the back of this news flow, this counter is in focus.
Surely keeping an eye out on Zydus Life, but given most of its given up all those gains that it saw in the morning as well. Let's move on and talk about Suprajit Industries on the charts then. And Osho, what is the technical chart indicating for Suprajit Industries?
The Suprajit has seen a decent rally in the current financial year. From the levels of 330, it has went towards the level of 410, and from there onwards it has been on some kind of consolidation. And again, last week on Friday, it has witnessed a very strong breakout from the consolidation zone. So that means from here onwards, one can expect the rally to continue on the higher end for the immediate target of 460. So one should try to accumulate this counter at current levels also, or if some dip comes towards the level of 405, for the upside target of 460 in a very short-term time frame. So this is a very the overall technical structure is very constructive and bullish, and one should definitely try to keep this counter for short-term perspective.
Okay, one should look at the counter from a short-term perspective on Suprajit Industries. That's the word coming in from Osho. But that was stock number 35 and the last stock for today. So thank you so much, Osho, Lisa, Vamakshi, as well as Kunal for joining in with us this afternoon on Market Fatafat. And it's a goodbye from Shrishti, myself, as well as the team who put the show together.